Welcome, everybody. Um, as we all know, summer is historically a quieter time on campus, and in terms of personnel, that's certainly true. But we've been very, very busy this year, planning for the year to come, and there is growing excitement as we prepare for our students who it's hard to believe will be here in about 6 weeks. So in that context, we have both challenges and opportunities. Let me just say a word about the challenges. We all know, and I think it's important to acknowledge publicly, that the institution and all institutions in this country face headwinds in terms of the, as I describe it, fewer 18-year-old beating hearts in America. So the challenges that we face in terms of enrollment are not ours alone. Certainly there are certain situations and contexts that are different, but basically we all face significant enrollment headwinds as we go forward over the next few years. In terms of safety, we are continuing to improve safety measures on campus. When our students return, I think they and their parents and families will be very pleased to hear about the changes we've made. We're also working with community and government leaders to address root causes of violence in our community. As we understand, this is not a problem you can fix overnight. It's long in the making and long in the solution, but wouldn't we love to be able to say we are part of the forward-looking cure to this? And I think we are going to be able to say that, trying to offer programs in the city and in our neighborhood that will change the proclivity for people to want to engage in violence. But it's clear we can't do this alone. We're going to need not only a long view, but also cooperation from some of our institutional partners. Enrollment, we are really excited and looking forward to welcoming our new first year and transfer students, already planning for next year, fall of 2024, to find new ways to introduce Temple more broadly, and the particularly special benefits of a Temple education. I think those of you on this call, most of you on this call, are here because you know that there is something special about us. I never want to take the position that there's no institution that shares some of the things that make us great, but the sum total of who we are really makes us special, and I'm really proud to be a part of this institution again this year. In terms of opportunities, that's what we're focusing on. What is it that makes us great? And, I was thinking about it. If you didn't have the headwinds, what would we brag about? There's stuff to brag about. In terms of research, last year we exceeded $300 million in research expenditures. For those of us, and I would include myself in that category, in a profession that doesn't measure itself by research expenditures, you have to really appreciate what that means. It's actually a big deal. And to exceed $300 million in research expenditures is a really great thing. And for us to have done it for the first time is really terrific. It builds on our reputation as the fourth fastest, I'll say that correctly, fourth fastest in research growth from 2011 to 2021. That decade, we were fourth in terms of the upward trajectory. We are still processing final numbers, but our fundraising numbers for this last fiscal year look to put us at a record. I'm not going to say the number because I don't want to jinx us, but let's just say it looks to be good. But, with all of that context about what makes us great, the thing that is at the core of our looking forward are our students. And so I hope you had the chance to read the profiles of some of our remarkable graduates. We've got Fulbright scholars, Goldwater scholars, future doctors, paramedics. You just forget about the kids we send off each year. And if you had a chance to sign on to commencement, I think you would have seen some of the energy that attended that day, the great feelings of our students and their families. And, we can get our head down and feel like there's so much to do and forget there's so much to celebrate. And obviously, I give a lot of credit to our faculty. They are the ones that are champions for our students. We've had some really great awards this past year, really cool stuff, a $20 million Lego gift to study early childhood education. And that not only gives us a chance to brag about our faculty and the accomplishments that they have professionally, but to think about the experiences for our students. And among the other things that I do during the day, I've been making calls to supporters of Temple. And in talking to them, I asked them what has kept them connected to us. And almost to a person, they cite back to an experience they had as an undergraduate. Some graduate, but more undergraduate. Life-changing opportunities to have their mind expanded by some opportunity with a faculty member. So when I boast about our faculty members, it's not just to brag about them, but to emphasize the connection they have to our future alumni. In terms of themes for the year ahead, we're trying to identify those themes that would really guide us. When you have good themes, it's easy to say that fits. That does not. Which isn't to say that you have to be rigid, but we're trying to identify the things that will allow us to continue to move forward this year. Collaboration, I think, is really first key. And when I say that, I mean collaboration writ large, because there are so many contexts in which that arises. But interdisciplinary work led by Provost Greg Mandel, I think, is really one of the things that by its nature is collaborative. It has been the focus of our planning efforts, and it will continue to be. I remember when I was provost, it was harder than I could ever have imagined. But we continue to work on the ways in which we can not only encourage people coming to Temple, but those who are already here to work across schools and colleges, because that's the future. When we think about the way the future of the world of our graduates are going to find, they're not going to want to have just one major. They're going to want to be able to sort of transcend different disciplines. So we're working there. We also want to work collaboratively, administratively, in this world of shrinking resources in which we find ourselves. And may I just say that when I became dean of the law school faced shrinking resources, but I digress. But we also need to figure out administratively in this world of shrinking resources, how to collaborate, how to make sure we have increased business efficiencies, streamlining processes. So we're looking at all that, all the while making sure that no one gets the feeling that the roof is coming off. And so that becomes a real challenge messaging. We're not going out of business. We're not going to close. We just have to belt tighten, and we have to be very careful about what we can prioritize and what we can't. But we have to make sure that people understand that this is an institution that absolutely, I have no doubt, will survive. In terms of other things, commitment to our themes and values is something that's really important to me. Many of you have heard me say, and I, as a leader, you get a line, you kind of go with it, it feels good. You don't want to repeat yourself. So I want to be careful about that. But I think that one of the things I want to say here is the recognition that there is a part of Temple University that keeps people here when they might have other opportunities, some categories of which might even seem more appealing. But they don't leave us because the who we are is something that really attaches them. And so I think we want to make sure that everybody feels that. I don't feel like we've lost it, but I want to be sure that people feel it. And so the commitment to our values is something that is sort of below the surface, the culture, making sure people know why we think that this is a place where they should want to come and should stay. And doing that in terms of being forward looking and listening to the conversation about what's an educational institution of the future going to look like. I think it's obvious it can't look exactly like it looks now. So we have to figure out what part of us will stay and what part of us needs to be different. And those questions are not easy or obvious, but they're crucial. And so I draw back to our students. This is what most of what we're asking about is about. Temple recently hosted a meeting of the Association for Undergraduate Education at Research Institutions. It's UERO, Undergraduate Education Research Universities, pronounced URU. It was a gathering of those who provide leadership to undergraduate education at R1 and R2 universities, and I had the privilege of welcoming them to our campus. Thank you, Trustee Charles, on the terrace of our beautiful Charles Library. It was a lovely afternoon and got to see the whole city. It was great. We should try to bring more people there. And URU and several partners sponsored a re-examination of a 1998 report called the Boyer Commission Report that proposed a rethinking and a reinvention of undergraduate education for research universities. And the new report, Boyer 2030, looks at undergraduate education in light of the many changes over the last 25 years. And it was really exciting to be hosting the place where people were coming together to talk about the future. And so clearly, not just spurred by that, I'm proud to say, separate from that, we are doing things like that. We are looking at our general education program and our students' first year experience. and how to be committed to the city of Philadelphia and the community. But so it operates so excitingly at so many different levels in terms of shaping the dreams of our undergraduates. But it was really wonderful to host that conference and to know that we are committed to innovation and discovery, not only in research, but in teaching and academics and all the things that we do. And so I close with this observation that the temple that has kept me here for 30 some odd years is the temple that I am excited to think about over the next decade, long past me in this role. We are special, and we're really special in this region. And when you think about people who don't want to be in Manhattan and people who don't want to be in the district. And there's just a lot about what we offer that is very distinctive and special. We are the combination of a bunch of strengths. And so our challenge that I hope to help lead over the next year is ensuring that we use that recognition, that strength, that identity to be the best version of Temple that we can be. Thank you, Mr. Chair.